Rain World is an incredible game with many interesting and unique moments. One of these, I would argue, is one of the most powerful story beats in any game I've ever played. That moment being this. To understand what makes this moment so great, we'll have to go back to the first time you boot this game up. Here you see the title screen. An atmospheric tune plays. This tune is significant. Before the actual gameplay even begins, the game is establishing a leitmotif. A leitmotif is a short recurring musical phrase associated with a person, place, or idea. After navigating the menu and starting a new game, you watch a cutscene showing the life of the Slugcat and the unfortunate situation that he finds himself in, being separated from his family and cast into an unknown world. The leitmotif plays in a sad tone throughout this scene, establishing that this musical element represents the Slugcat's repeating struggle. Every time you start the game up, you'll hear this tune as you select your file, further solidifying its relation to the themes of the game. Once you begin the gameplay, an unusual being appears and gives you a sort of tutorial on how to survive. From this, he has gained some trust and he will attempt to be your guide throughout the game. You begin to make progress through the first area of the game, and you realize that this foreign world is unforgiving and brutal. Through this brutal survival experience, the player further connects with the struggle of the Slugcat. The difficult cycle of survival becomes clear. You must find food, avoid monsters that are just as hungry as you, and sleep in a shelter before the rain arrives, all while progressing through this unknown world. This cycle becomes one of the few absolute principles of the game at this point, and is constantly on the player's mind. It is at the core of the gameplay loop, and therefore at the core of Slugcat's struggle as well. As you progress, you will be required to figure out the karma system, which ties into the theme of cyclic struggle, as it requires you to repeat your cycle of eat, survive, and sleep to make progress by opening gates. You must accumulate karma to make progress and feel good about yourself, much like Reddit. Your first gate will most likely take you to the industrial complex area. Here the guide will lead you towards the next gate with a false promise of finding a fellow Slugcat. If you follow, you will encounter a race of scavengers, a surprisingly intelligent species that serve as a reminder that there are many who are equally stuck in this cyclic struggle. Pushing forward, you will enter the garbage wastes. Here the scavengers become much more developed, and you are required to either kill or befriend them to progress. An even stronger reminder that there are others with goals and obstacles just as you have. The cycle is as difficult for them as it is for you. After that interaction, you move on to Shoreline, where you will find an unusually mechanical facility, and inside you will encounter the character called Looks to the Moon, or Moon for short. It is here that the leitmotif appears again, signaling the significant relationship that Moon has with Slugcat's struggle. However, since Slugcat cannot understand Moon, you are forced to deny your curiosity and leave this obviously significant scene without any real breakthroughs, showing that the cycle does not offer any mercy even for something of importance. To progress, you must leave Shoreline and enter the Shaded Citadel, a surprisingly scary area that shows off Slugcat's helplessness in new ways through the lack of light. Following the direction of these orange worm creatures guides you towards the difficult memory crypts. Here the game becomes much more linear. This change in design becomes apparent, giving the upcoming areas a distinct quality. Upon completing memory crypts, you are greeted with an interesting area name, the Leg. The use of "the" in the name implies a uniqueness that hasn't been seen before. Your brain makes the connection that with a leg comes a body. A body with a leg implies a functioning system. This, combined with the uniquely active visuals and linear design, results in this area immediately having a sense of intentionality and purpose that makes it distinct from the more random and desolate post-apocalypse you are used to. This area is important, but you do not yet know why, so you become curious. After making the difficult climb through the leg, the feeling of curiosity heightens after encountering the next area name of the Underhang. It seems you have found the leg's body now. Soon you progress and find that you can indeed enter inside of this superstructure. You are greeted with the area named 5 Pebbles. While exploring this area, you find some extremely mechanical and electronic visuals. It is easily noticed that the chaos of nature has yet to break into this place. Something about it is far more orderly and purposeful. As well, the lack of gravity emphasizes Slugcat's helplessness and strengthens the area's unique nature and makes it almost surreal to play in, heightening curiosity and thematic tension even more. The sub-area names confirm its electronic nature with recursive transform arrays, memory conflux, and general systems bus. It is also home to one of the most difficult sections of the game, fittingly named Unfortunate Development. After a brutal and stressful grind, you have made it through at the cost of all of your karma. It is around this point that you realize that the rain has not come, despite the timer finishing. Something about this area has power over the rain that has devastated the world below. You are in awe at the fact that you've escaped one aspect of the cycle that has tormented you for so many hours of gameplay. Your curiosity has peaked at this point and you push onwards. After thorough exploration, you are rewarded with increasingly computer-esque cinematic visuals and this song. The leitmotif returns at one of the most thematically important moments of the game, in a new electronic and awe-inspiringly huge style, perfectly accompanying the increasingly strong visuals. Then it is suddenly cut off when you enter this tube and you meet 5 Pebbles, the cutoff signaling that you found what you're looking for. Entering the room, it may first appear like a traditional boss arena, but it quickly becomes obvious that this person is of the same race as Moon from earlier, but his facility appears to be functioning, unlike Moon's. He is obviously trying to communicate with you, but with no success as Slugcats can't comprehend languages. Here you may notice the religious symbolism on his head. You watch as he drags computer windows around, indicating that he's in control of this facility. Some graphics containing familiar symbols appear that indicate that he knows something about your struggle. Soon he finds some information about Slugcats and their biology. Suddenly you are lifted off the ground and made unconscious. As you spin, you worry that this may be the end of your Slugcat. A small explosion effect takes place on your head, and you are sent dramatically flying back into the floor. It is here where 5 Pebbles stares at you, and the first dialogue box in the game shows up. He has gifted you the ability to communicate. The words, "Is this reaching you?" resonate in your mind. The phrase is perfectly worded to imply that Pebbles does care about you enough to ask a helpful question. This feeling of caring is a complete contrast to the brutal outside world you've become accustomed to. It is this moment that all the gameplay mechanics and thematic concepts of the game have fed into. You have found someone who is capable of understanding your never-ending cyclic struggle, and has the power to do something about it for the first time. The game has shown an incredible exercise in restraint by saving the first dialogue box for this moment. Using dialogue for the first time to present a conclusion to the cyclic struggle of the game is such powerful storytelling, especially after a language barrier has hindered progress in the past with Moon, a brilliant use of foreshadowing. Now that you can understand him, he goes on explaining that he's aware of your struggle, and explains that all creatures have the same struggle, even him. He tells you of a path you can take to escape it, west past the farm arrays and down into the earth as deep as you can reach. You are forced to reject the comfort of this place and return to the brutal outside world with a newfound goal and powerful determination that could only be achieved by brilliant game design in the previous sections. This newfound determination is strengthened by the use of a new and invigorating song that plays in industrial complex and outskirts as you head west to achieve your goal. A new song in an old area to outline your newfound understanding of this world and to emphasize that you are on the path to concluding your journey and finally escaping the cycle after all this effort. That is why Is This Reaching You is my favorite moment in Rain World. It takes full advantage of nearly all previously established elements of the game: the difficult repetitive cycle, the lack of any defined goal, the level design, the philosophical themes, and more, and uses foreshadowing in the form of Moon and the design changes in the Pebbles area to strengthen the change that this moment causes in both the story and the gameplay, making it one of the most powerful cinematic moments in any video game. Thanks for watching.